This video is sponsored by Wildlife Command Center Coffee. More about them at the end of the video. Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another Dark Park Film Reviews. And this video is a follow-up to the Jack Hunter One Filmmaker, One Film interview that I did with him. And that was a really good interview. It's a little over 2 hours, and I'm very happy with all the areas that we hit on it. But there were some things that were left out because the interview would have just gone on too long. And I really want to keep these anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours. I don't mind it going a little over 2 hours, but I don't want it to really go past that. So obviously some things get left out because other topics are brought up that, are not on the agenda, basically. And that's what happened with this interview. And I really do appreciate Jack, doing that interview. He wore his heart on his sleeve and basically, told me and the audience a lot about himself and kind of where he's at and what's going on. So it just wasn't a filmmaker talking about one or two films. It was a person talking about himself. And I really do appreciate that. So a couple things we just didn't have time to get to, like what inspired him to make found footage films. Why do Paranoia tapes and keep those as a series as found footage films? What do found footage films mean to him? What are some of his favorite found footage films? Things like that. Also with, Horror Nights. What are his favorite anthologies? Why did he want to make an anthology? Will there be more anthologies? And so these things weren't looked at. And the major thing that I did is I took a bunch of notes, and I mentioned this on the interview that I took a bunch of notes, but we didn't get to those. And that's basically looking at each story that's within the film. And we didn't have time for that. We just could not get to it. The interview would have been like 3 hours long, and I don't want that. One filmmaker, one film coffee mug. I thought this would be appropriate for today since we're doing a follow-up to Jack's One Filmmaker, One Film. So I thought that was appropriate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be looking at Horror Nights, each, story. And then I'm also going to be looking at Paranoia tapes, the first movie, each story. And I'm not going to give spoilers, or at least I'm going to try my best to not give spoilers, because I want you to watch these films. And a lot of them have pretty good twists. A lot of them, the twist is you have no idea. It's like, what? I have no idea what just happened here. So, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm going to try to stay away from spoilers. I'm going to basically just give kind of a brief example of what the film or what the short story is about. And then if you want to watch it, you can, kind of track down Horror Nights and Paranoia tapes and then check it out for yourself. So let's get to that. The first film is called American Hell, and that is directed by Robert Bryce Milburn, and it's like The Strangers. So it's a home invasion film, and it stars, I'm blanking on her name, the woman who did the Siren episode, or she's the actress in the Siren episode of VHS. And then they made a feature out of that called Siren. And that's the story or episode or whatever you want to call it that's in VHS is that she, like a guy talks to her, she becomes fixated on him. And then at the end, she like sprouts wings and flies away with him. And that's what everybody considers to be the best episode in VHS. And then they made a feature out of it called Siren. So she's the main actress in this. And basically, it's like I said, it's a home invasion film. It's a group of people that are on one floor of an apartment, and they go kind of from apartment to apartment, killing people, beating them up. They find one guy who they basically make to do things, or they were like kill his wife. I don't want to give away, like I said, spoilers for these things, so I'm probably just going to leave it at that. So American Hell is a home invasion short. I will say it's well acted. It's well, actually, I'll say this for all of these. There's 14 stories, and I don't think any of them had bad directing, writing, sound, editing. It just depends on if you like that type of story or not. And I like them all in various degrees. Some obviously are better than others. Some are fine just as the short that they're at, like their length. Some of them could be longer. I would like to maybe see a longer short, and some of them could be made into a feature film. I think that there's enough there, and I'll let you know which ones I think deserve that. So American Hell, I think, is, unless you're going to kind of turn it into, maybe like a Die Hard meets The Strangers, it's fine where it's at. Unless you're going to take the husband and kind of John McClane him out, and that he can, be fighting the people that are doing the home invasion. So it's kind of fine exactly where it's at as a short film. The next one is called Night Mara, and it is directed by Anthony Harriman, and it deals with kind of like sleep paralysis that a woman just cannot fall asleep. And she gets visited by a creepy thing. And I will say that. I will leave it at that. So that one was okay. The length that it was at is fine. Unless you want to make it longer and just not have this one character, you would obviously have to have a few different characters that are going through this sleep paralysis and then this creepy thing that shows up in their bedroom. So, but that one's not bad. The creepy thing looks pretty good. It actually looks kind of creepy. So that one's a good one. Then there's the next story is called Sleepless, and it is directed by Paul. Oh, here we go. Cat. Should be Cat Lan Otto. Cat Lan Otto. I'm sorry, Paul, if I'm mispronouncing your name. This also deals with a woman who can't sleep. Basically, the man next to her, I'm assuming her husband, is snoring, and she cannot fall asleep. It's just a loud snore. She cannot fall asleep, so we see her in bed trying to fall asleep. We see her watching, like she gets up and does stuff around the house, and then she tries to go back to sleep near the end, and then something happens. And I'm not going to say what happens. But yeah, so she can't sleep. And in the morning, I will say this, that the husband does try to find her and he can't. But I'm not going to give away the reason why he can't find her, because that's the twist. So Sleepless, not bad. Kind of the same thing with Night Mara. It could be a longer film if you wanted to deal with more people who can't fall asleep, and then kind of expand on the reason why they disappear. The one after that I really enjoyed. It's called Swim with Me. It is directed by Ben Escobar, and it's basically a. We see at the beginning there's a like a wet foot, wet leg. It's like basically just the, we're only looking from really like the waist down, and so the body is wet, and there's it's bare feet and everything, and there's a chain wrapped around the ankle of this man that's walking up these stairs. That then cuts to a different man who's inside his apartment, and he keeps hearing like these chains and these like the footsteps and everything, and he goes and investigates and goes down to the swimming pool. And so this is where I get into not wanting to tell spoilers, because I really like this one. Something happens to him, and we see what is attached to the chain. This, I think, because there's actually kind of a twist on a twist in this one, if you look real close at the end. I think this one would definitely work as a feature film, something that's in the pool, something that's maybe in different pools, different apartments and stuff like that. I would like to see this one done as a feature film. And especially if we got some background, maybe a little bit of this thing with the chain wrapped around it, and it does come from the swimming pool. I think it could be interesting. So this is called, it's Swim With Me. It's one I highly recommend. It's one of my favorite shorts on this, on Horror Nights. So that could be definitely made, I think, into a feature film. After that is Let Me In, and that is directed by Anthony Harriman, and it's a woman hears the doorbell ring. She answers it. She plays coy with a man, kind of back and forth, and it ends up being her husband. And they're just playing with each other, And he enters, and they kiss, and they're talking, and then she gets a phone call. And I'm not going to say who the phone call is from, but she now questions her husband that's in the house with her and who this guy is. And there is, like I said, there's like a little bit of a twist. I'm not going to say it, but it's not bad. It's fun. I think its length is fine. And I wish I could give spoilers, but I don't want to, just because I think that, like I said, like this stuff is worth, this film is worth watching. So it's, yeah, you just got to watch it. So I know I'm not really giving a lot of detail on it, because there's kind of a twist on a twist in this one also. The next one is called Sisters. It's directed by Joe Lujan, who I am friends with. And he told me he shot this whole short on his phone. So that's kind of interesting. And it takes place in the snow, which I like. I love films that take place in the snow. And it deals with a little girl who is friends with, it might be a ghost. It could be like her sister. It could be maybe like a twin. It could be maybe a little girl who died in that area, but she's friends with this ghost, and she's not scared of it or anything. And then there's like a little thing like a little twist at the end. So this one might work as a feature or an extended short, kind of getting some history on who the ghost girl is, getting some background on that, or maybe just kind of, because there's no parents in it. We hear the parents once, I believe once. And so it'd be interesting to get more of a background on who this ghost girl is. So it could be longer. but it also kind of works. And at the very, very end, there is a twist. There's which I'm not gonna, which of course they're stories in a horror anthology, so there's going to be a twist. But the twist is something that I even question. Like, I may have to ask Joe, like, okay, so what did this twist really mean? And because once again, this is kind of a twist with another twist. And but it's fun. It's worth watching. It's well shot, and I recommend Sisters. Earworm, I really liked. I put it right up there with Swim With Me. And this is directed by Paul and then Kat Lan Otto. And you know when somebody sings a song, especially an annoying song, and it gets stuck in your head and you can't get it out and it's in there for days, and you're like, man, I want to kill that guy for putting that song in my head. Well, and this isn't spoilers, so I could say this, is that's kind of the idea with this short. It's one location. It takes place in a school classroom, and there's a teacher and students. And this one student comes in, and she is all kind of messed up looking, like, hey, you know, are you okay? Have you been sleeping? Type of thing. And she's singing this song over and over again. And then the teacher gets it. And then she's okay. And then the teacher starts killing people. So we see at the beginning that this girl, who's all weird looking, there's like blood dripping from her. So the idea is that this song kind of goes from person to person. So if it gets stuck in your head, you murder people. And then it can go to somebody else once they get it stuck in their head. And I really like that. And there is a twist at the very end, because you wonder, like, okay, well, what if the person that has the song stuck in their head and they're doing the murdering, what if there's nobody around them and they're dying? How do they get the song to somebody else? And the filmmakers figured out a way of doing that. And that's the twist, which I'm not going to give. So that one I really like. I think this could be totally done as a feature film. I think that it could be a lot of fun. And it did remind me of the Denzel Washington film Fallen, where the demon jumps from person to person to person to person. It kind of reminded me of that. So I think that this could definitely work as a feature film, and I would like to see it as a feature film. The next film is called Invisible Man. It is directed by Ben Escobar, and it did remind me of Hostel. It's also one location. It's just like a young man's desk with his computer on, and it's almost kind of like eBay, where he clicks on, he goes on to like the dark web. He clicks on this site. There's a person he's tied up and he's yelling, help me, somebody get me out of here. Help me. And you can basically bid on this guy being killed or not. And so which is why I mentioned eBay, is you could do bids, and you could be outbid, and then you bid again, then you're outbid, and then you're bid again. And I'm not entirely sure if he wins or loses, but so he, at the very end, is that he just turns, he gets to a certain point with money, and then he turns off his computer and leaves. So I'm not really sure if there's a spoiler to that one or not, because I'm not really sure how the money works in this, how the guy gets killed or not. So that one was okay. I don't know if it needed to be any longer or not, maybe some sort of explanation, but with 3 Hostel movies out there, I'm not really sure if we need it. But it was okay. It was all right. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And, and this is directed by the same guy who did Swim With Me. So I was a little disappointed, only because I thought Swim With Me was a little more creative. But Invisible Man, it was okay. I think it's probably fine where it's at. Um, or maybe a little bit longer just to give an explanation on how this whole thing works. After that comes a film called Nails, and it's directed by Anthony Harema. I just having hard times with these people's names, even though I'm re-saying them a few times. But it's called Nails, and it's about a guy who cannot sleep at night. It's another one with sleep. This movie has a lot of can't fall asleep in it. But he basically, like, I think in this one is that he can't stay asleep. He keeps waking up, and his doctor has him on this medication, and the guy thinks that the medication is making him worse. So he hears scratching, and it gets worse and worse and worse. He can't fall asleep like he used to. That's getting worse. Everything is getting worse. And he's taking these pills, and there's something at the window, and he keeps hearing something at the window. And that's basically where the scratching comes from. And when he contacts his doctor, he's like, I'm going to up your dose. And the guy's like, dude, it's not working. It's not working. I almost thought for a second, excuse me, that maybe this was some sort of experiment. And that the doctor is telling him, you have to stay on this medication. We're going to up it. And that there was some sort of twist with the government or something like that. I know probably the filmmaker is thinking like, God, where would you even get that from? But I don't know. You hear about these things in the military with with what they do with soldiers and stuff. And some of these experiments are pretty crazy. But so this guy, he can't sleep. He keeps taking the medication. The scratching gets worse. And that's as far as I'm going to take that one. So, the pills have a lot to do with this. His doctor has a lot to do with this. The scratching has a lot to do with it. So it's not bad. It's, once again, I don't think it would work as a feature, but it would probably work as an expanded short, get a little bit more info on things. Because his doctor does pretty much just kind of dismisses him, when the guy calls saying, I really need your help. And the doctor sounds like he's just tired of this guy. Like maybe he calls every single day, and he's just kind of done with him. But it's not bad. It's a cool idea that I think could be expanded. The next one is called Knock Knock, and that is directed by Paul Catalanotto. And that one deals with a woman who sees a note. And it's from her husband. It's, happy anniversary. We'll go out to dinner. Wear the red dress. We guys like red dresses. We know what red dresses mean. And so she gets all fancied up. She got the makeup on. She's got the red dress on. And she's waiting for him to get home. And she keeps hearing this knocking. And the knocking gets more and more intense. And she starts to go outside, and there's a pet that's kind of all weird. And they, or I could be wrong about the pet. I might be wrong about the pet. I am wrong about the pet. So let's strike the pet. That is actually for, I believe, possibly sleepness or sleepless. Yeah, it might have the pet in it. So strike that. No pet. So the knocking just keeps getting more and more intense. And she hears like noises that are upstairs. And then she goes upstairs and she finds the shower running, a shoe, and her husband's cell phone on the ground. And then something happens. I'm not going to say what. So that's where we're going. So the biggest twist in this is that there's no dog. That I made that mistake. There is no dog. There's 14 stories in here, so it's. I'm surprised I haven't gotten more of them confused with each other, to be honest. The next one I cannot find a title for, and I cannot find a director for. It's very short, but it basically deals with the FDA and salad. And there's a woman who's eating romaine lettuce. And this one's kind of fun. I mean, it's only about a minute long, maybe in between a minute and 2 minutes. And something happens with the salad. And there's an FDA warning. And that's all I'm going to say. So you have to watch it to find out what happens with her salad and the FDA warning. The next one is called Mother. This one is confusing. It's interesting, but it's confusing. It's directed by Ben Escobar. So a young woman comes home. She's in the kitchen. She hears her mom say, "Can you bring me up some water?" And she goes upstairs and finds something in the bathtub. Finds like a creature in the bathtub. Then, and that's all I'm going to say with that. And then her mother comes home, goes into the kitchen. She hears the daughter upstairs. And the daughter says, "Can you bring me some water?" And mom's like, "Okay, sure." So she goes upstairs. And there's the creature in the bathtub. And that's where I'm going to leave that one. So it's called Mother, but I don't think it has anything to do with the mother of the daughter. It has something to do with the creature. And it was a little confusing. But visually and everything, it looked nice. So it was okay. It's another one of those where I don't think it needs to be a feature. It can be, like an expanded short, maybe find out what this creature is. But yeah, so it wasn't bad. It was okay. The story after that is called Without Light. And this one was interesting. This could be a feature. I enjoyed this one. It's directed by, and I'm going to definitely pronounce the last name wrong. It's Velton, and then it's Jai Lishki. So Yelton Jai Lishki. This is the only one directed by this person. And it's about a woman who she gets attacked outside on the street. And she is scared. And she is in her home, and she has her friend and her doctor. And they keep trying to open up the windows. And she's like, "No, I'm terrified of the outside. I don't want to see the outside. I don't want that." They want her to go outside. She's like, "No, I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to leave the house." So it's basically agoraphobia. And she eats food and she gets sick. And she keeps saying, "I'm just not ready for these things. I'm just not ready for them." And then all these things, and you'll probably get where this is going, even though I'm not going to tell the twist. We do see a flashback to her getting attacked. She is afraid of the light. She doesn't want to go out during the day. She throws up when she eats food. And at the very end, when the friend tries to confront her, the woman who got attacked nope, I didn't freeze. I'm just not going to tell you what happens after the hug. So the woman and the friend hug, and that's as far as I'm going to go. So, but you could probably get it from the description that I was giving you. And that one I enjoyed. I could definitely see it as a feature. I thought that was a lot of fun. And because at first I was like, "Oh God, just go outside." I don't get these things like agoraphobia and stuff. I really don't. I don't understand them. I just don't get it. But I will say maybe I am being hypocritical because I've been in 2 head-on collisions and 1 rear ender. And I am still to this day, even though the last accident, happened a long time ago, because there was the head-on collision, the rear ender, and then a second head-on collision. After that second head-on collision, I was terrified to drive. and I would avoid driving. If I absolutely didn't have to, I would be in the slow lane. I'd be going like 50 miles an hour on the freeway. So maybe I'm talking out of my ass when I say I don't understand these things. So and it still bothers me. Before these accidents, I used to love to drive. I would drive 10 and a half hours to go visit my parents in Northern California, or my grandparents in Northern California. And now I don't like driving. So yeah, I'm probably just talking out of my butt when it comes to those type of things. But this is Without Light is a good story. It's like I said, it's one that I think could be made into definitely a feature. Now, this last one, Penance, is also directed by Ben Escobar, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't even know if there's a spoiler in this one. It begins with a man tied up and a woman that is talking to him. You see on the wall behind, there's basically like there's bloody marks, that's where it's like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slash. And they look like they've been made by a finger. And he's all tied up and he's bloody. And she is berating him. And it looks like there's already a cut on her neck. And after she berates him, she stabs herself in the neck. So So then a man that looks like a cowboy, he actually looks like the man in black from Halloween 5. And he puts up like a bloody finger mark up on there, like another mark. And then we go to a different place, and now a woman is tied up, and she has a gun. And there's a man who's over her, like berating her. And he takes the gun and he shoots himself. And she starts to cry. And then the man in black guy comes over, and I went back and I watched it a couple times. I can't tell if he's putting a bloody mark or removing a bloody mark, or there's just no bloody mark that he's using with his finger. I couldn't tell. And he says to her, like, I wouldn't want to be you, or I'm glad I'm not you. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Visually, it looks nice. Maybe you're supposed to make up your own mind on it. I don't know. I kind of maybe took where the guy is tied up and the woman is there with the knife. That I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking maybe she killed himself. She killed herself because he broke up with her or something. And so he's reliving that over and over again. And the marks on the wall are how long he's been in hell. So she just keeps killing herself or something. And then the woman who's tied up and the guy, and she's got the gun, and the guy kills himself. Maybe it's the same thing, or maybe he just committed suicide because she gave him the gun. I don't know. I find that one very confusing. But like I said, it's well acted, it's well shot, and all that stuff. So it's not bad for an end one, because it makes you think. I could be totally wrong on everything I'm saying, but it's not a bad one to end the film with. And I forgot to mention that it is Jennifer Nigal is she's the hostess at the beginning and the end. So she bookends the movies, and she is Malvola, Queen of Screams. So like I said, she's at the beginning and the end, and bookending it. So, and she's always good. She's always fun to watch. Two things I got to say with the very end, the music for the end credits. Did not like it all. It's just awful, like 80s synth music that just kind of repeated itself over and over and over and over again. I did not like it at all. I kind of found it obnoxious. And the how the credits are put together is very confusing. Um, I've heard that for the new release that's coming out of Horror Nights, because it does have that the distribution, um, things have changed. So it'll be a slightly different edit of the film. So I'm hoping that synth music is gone and that the credits are better, beginning and end credits. So that would be my only complaint, are those credits at the beginning and the end, and that music I think is just awful. I just don't like. I mean, it just sounds like a video game going over and over and over and over again. So those two things would be my only complaints. Otherwise, the short stories, the 14 stories, are hit and miss. You may like some that I don't, and I may like some that you don't. So it's all just a matter of opinion. But all right, so that wraps it up for Jack Hunter's Horror Nights. And next, we are going to be looking at Paranoia tapes. All right, we are back, and let's take a look at the very first Paranoia tapes, or as it says, Jack Hunter's Paranoia tapes. They're tapes, but they're on a DVD. So this is not the one that I watched. I told Jack that I have this version. He told me to watch the director's cut, so I will not be commenting on this version. I will be commenting on the director's cut, and that is 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 19 seconds. It looks like this version is 2017. This new version is 2020. One of the things that I mentioned in the interview is that there is a music video at the beginning of the film. I was a little confused when I was watching it because I didn't know if this was meant to be part of the film or if it was just kind of added, just onto it, like, oh, here's a music video and then we'll get into the movie. So when I asked Jack, he explained why it was there and everything. And so everything, has a reason. And if, in my opinion, I understand why Jack did it, and I get it. I would probably, when this version becomes available on DVD or Blu-ray, I would probably either put it in the special features, give it as a bonus, or move it to the end of the movie, because I did think that it was a little confusing. So that's my opinion. Obviously, whatever he wants to do with it is what he's going to do with it. It's his film. So, and the song is called Paranoia. And it's a kind of like a rap song, and it's just not my type of music. So I can't really say anything about it except that it's a music video and it's at the beginning of the film. So I'm considering that to be, if he does leave it where it's at, because it goes music video and then some credits, and then it gets into the movie. I'm calling that number one, because there are 23 found footage short films on this. And so I'm considering that number one, because most likely it's going to stay at the beginning. So number one is that. Number two for found footage films is a film that is down in a little corner. It's got the date. It says 1997, and does look like it's supposed to be shot probably on VHS. And now I can't, there were no end credits on this version, so I don't know who the directors are. I don't know who the writers are. I don't know who any of the actors are, except for one. And the way that Jack did it with me is because I shot one like a little short, is that he gave me a script. He let me pick from, I think it was like 3 scripts, and I picked one, and then I went with, like Joe Lujan, and there were there were like 4 of us all together, and we made this short, and but we went off of his script, and I directed it, and so I don't know if he did that with the rest of these. Maybe that's how he works, is that he'll write up scripts and then the directors will direct them, or if these are just made by, filmmakers, and then they send them in and he approves them and puts them onto the film. So I'm not sure. So I'm only going off of just kind of like a brief thing that I wrote up for each film. And so the second one, technically the second one, would be Bullied Girl Kills Her Bullies. And except for the wraparound stuff, there aren't really any spoilers, so I'm not going to worry about that. Basically, this is kind of like a Carrie type of thing where it's the girl gets made fun of. Guy wants to go out with her. They're filming it to humiliate her. And she has possibly powers like Carrie, or she's a monster. There is a roar at the end, and she ends up killing the 3 people, 2 guys and a girl, that were recording her. So this one's kind of fun, but that's the whole thing. Is she's a bully girl, and she basically kills the people that are that kind of torturing her, like mentally torturing her. Then number 3 is this is part of the wraparound. So Jack plays a character called Henry. He's the host, more or less the host of the film. And he explains to us that his father has gone missing. He has a brother, and that he has found these tapes, the combination of beta and VHS. And he is going to be showing them to us throughout the film. That then goes to number 4, which is Mother Kills Her Crying Baby. And that's it's basically one shot, and it's a mother who just cannot put up with her baby crying anymore. So she basically murders it, comes back with bloody hands, and I think it's maybe like a bloody blanket. And she just kind of pushes the camera away, and that ends the crying. So that's that video. Then there's number 5 is you have a woman who goes to an apartment, and she knocks on the door, and a guy opens it, and this is part of the wraparound. And a person named Ron is there, and the woman is going to let him use her camera to look at some tapes. And he takes the camera, kind of turns it and faces it towards her, and basically just wants to have sex with her. She's disgusted, and she leaves. A sister is brought up, and that's how that is for that one. So it's more of a POV from Ron's point of view, or just actually they don't say that it's Ron yet. It's just like a guy, like a gross guy, that the woman finds disgusting, and so she leaves. The one that comes after that, so number 6, is this one I really like. This one was interesting because I watched it like 3 times, and they have some, I'm assuming some of it's practical blood, some of it might be visual effects, but it's an African-American woman, and she ends up killing a couple guys with a bat, and it's got like barbed wire around it, ex-boyfriends that were playing her. And the blood that hits like like a wall, and that when she hits one of the guys in the head that comes out, looks really good. I was really surprised. And the story actually has, even though it's really short, it's only a couple of minutes, does have like a beginning, middle, and end. And so if this, I don't remember if this is on this one. I've not seen it for a long time. I watched it when I originally got it. So I don't know if it's on this version, but if the director's cut comes out and you pick it up, definitely watch this one. This one I really liked. It makes sense. Like the found footage stuff actually makes sense. So I thought that it was pretty good. Then number 7, this was kind of a weird one. It's 4 women are trying to get a job, and they're at the house of one of the 4 women. And of course, they're being catty with one another. And they're like, all right, well, let's go to this club. And we don't see the club, but it goes to black, and you hear one of the women say, like when I say the word run or something, and then we see them in the woods. And then that cuts to them basically at a cult, like being sacrificed in a cult. The club is never shown, and they're just being sacrificed in a cult. And that's pretty much where that one ends. Number 8 is now we're back to the wraparound again, and we have there's a knock at the door, and we see Ron, and he lets 2 women in, 2 sisters, who give him a hard time, and he basically the main girl who got hit on flips the camera around, and we see that it's a guy with like blue hair. And the character is played by by Jack Hunter. Henry is Jack Hunter, and Ron is Jack Hunter, but they look very different. Henry has on like glasses, and he's smoking, and he looks very different from Ron, who has like blue hair. He's clean shaven, more or less clean shaven, and is more timid than the Henry character is. And they make fun of him back and forth, and he says, look, I have my dad's been missing, and I found these tapes, and I wonder if you guys can watch them with me. So then they're like, okay, fine, whatever, go get your tapes. And he leaves. So then that goes to right, there was 8. Yes, 8. So then that goes to number 9. And that is this one I like. This was fun. So this is a man is making a pipe bomb. His brother comes in recording, and he's like, hey, what are you making? And the brother's like, oh, I'm making a pipe bomb. And so he records him, making the pipe bomb. He then it looks like maybe it might be a younger brother. And then he sets up the camera at the dinner table while they're eating, saying, well, it could be mom, their mom probably died. And so they're eating, dinner. And then it goes to outside. And this is another one of my favorite ones. And as they're outside, a gang comes up to them, like they're crossing paths. And the gang just does one of those things where assholes just hit you in the face for no reason at all. It's that type of thing. And so the 2 brothers are fighting the gang. One of the guys escapes. 2 of the gang guys are down on the ground, and the 2 brothers are carrying with them a backpack, and it has that's where the pipe bomb is. And the younger brother gets so mad at the gang that he basically takes the backpack, and the older brother's like, no, and swings it down and hits one of the gang members and explodes the bomb, and everything blows up. And that I thought was fun. That I enjoyed. I do not agree with pipe bombs. I would probably assume that they support a particular president that was in office, and that's why they're making the pipe bomb. But yeah, I enjoyed that one. I thought it was fun. And then number 10, we're back to the wraparound. We see Ron is with is he with the women? How did I write this? I can barely read my handwriting sometimes. Yeah, so Ron is with both. Ron is with both of the women, and he's looking at the beta tapes and kind of looking through them. And the one woman, the one sister, is making fun of him and stuff like that. Then the next story is number 11, and that is a guy and a girl want to try to figure out these murders that are called the Cottonwood murders. And so they go off on a journey to try to figure out and solve the Cottonwood murders. At night, he is beaten in his bed. He's sleeping, and somebody comes in like a hoodie and beats him. And he wakes up, and he's tied up to a chair. And it ends up being the girl that he's with, ends up stabbing him. And, she says, how is this for your documentary? So she must be the I would assume, the Cottonwood murderer. And now he's another victim. That thing goes to number 12. That goes back to the wraparound. And we see, let's see. Ron is with the sister of the original girl that we saw, and they just got done watching that video of the Cottonwood murders. Then from there, that goes to number 13, and then Henry pops back up, saying that he had to cut in. And then he tells us some stuff about the tapes and things like that. And then that goes to number 14. And this guy in a kind of Phantom of the Opera mask pops on. And excuse me. And it's all close up on his face, and he's laughing maniacally. And he's talking to us about random things. And he's all crazy. So now we have Henry, we have Ron, and we have this kind of like Phantom of the Opera mask guy. So there's like now we got 3 guys in the wraparound. In number 15, basically it's like 3 frat guys go to an abandoned church, and it takes a while. We see a lot of them kind of standing around and talking. We see them driving. We see them get to the abandoned church. They search around the abandoned church, and there they find like this demon girl. They think that maybe she's lost or hurt, and it ends up that she's, I'm assuming, has like powers and kind of throws them all around and kills them. That one is kind of interesting. I just wish it wasn't as long. I like the idea of the demon girl in the abandoned church. Might like to know a little bit more about the demon girl. So maybe a second video would be cool. Who knows? Maybe there's something on one of the other tapes or films. And then that goes to 16. So we're now back to the wraparound story. This has Ron is destroying the beta tape. Or he mentions earlier that you have to destroy it or record over it. And so we see him driving, and it looks like a long distance. There's a whole bunch of intercut, things in the footage, a whole bunch of random little things. And, one of them is like him playing the piano. And then we see that then cuts to the second sister. We'll call her the second sister. trying to find him in the house, and she finds him in the garage, and he's looks like he's torturing somebody. And the second sister is telling him to stop. Basically, Ron is using a hammer. That then goes to number 17, and it's two young guys, and they're in their apartment, and they've just got, one of them just got a camera, and he wants to go to the pit. And so they end up in the woods, where they find a whole bunch of notes that are left for them. And this is very much a like a Slender Man or kind of Blair Witch short. And the notes kind of are giving them messages. And then when they go back later, the notes are saying, you know, leave me alone, stop following me, don't do this. And they end up in a whole mess of trouble in the woods. So it's kind of like a Slender Man type of thing. Now, I wasn't sure about this one, so originally I didn't write it down, but so technically number 18. So it's a single shot from what is supposed to probably be like a Super 8 camera. And there's the sound of the footage, like it's in the projector. And there is a man walks on screen. It kind of looks like a Leatherface mask. And he has like a large, I don't want to say, maybe it's not really a stick, maybe like a dowel. And there's two kids. One is younger, one is older, and they're sitting there, and he kind of walks around the kids, and then he gives the older kid like the dowel. And as he walks in the middle, he turns them around, and the two kids are in clown masks. And he's kind of showing them off, and then takes them and then walks out of frame. So I wasn't sure if this was originally part of the one with like the guys go out to like the Slender Man thing, but I think this is its separate, like a separate film. So I am calling that number 18. So 19 is a film that a friend of mine is in, Gotham McFadden. And recently I've seen actually this and The Immortal Wars Rebirth by Joe Lujan, where he has a part in that one too. So within like the last week or so, I've seen two films that he has parts in, which is kind of cool. And he is part of this Ghost Hunters type of thing. So it's him and I want to say 3 friends, and maybe 4, might be 4 friends. And they are looking, they're going to go check out the death clock. And I don't know if that's an actual made up thing or not. I've never heard of death clock, but that's where they're going to go look. And so they drive to the house. And while they're driving there is where we find out more about the death clock. And they get to this house. They're in the garage. Gotham is saying, because he's the leader, is saying, hey, you know, watch my YouTube channel. We're going to be, you know, checking out the death clock. And, you know, there's been spooky stuff going on in this place. And so Gotham, I believe, goes into the house. He comes out of the house, and there's 3 guys that are kind of like in a kind of Blair Witch stance where their backs are all to us. They're kind of looking down. And when Gotham, you know, calls one of the guys, he turns around and there's like black stuff coming out of his eyes. And as he comes up to Gotham, he puts his hand on him, but then he dies. And then I think I have a sneeze coming on. So man, the second video with a sneeze in it. Hold on. Might be 2. And then the cameraman and Gotham don't know what's going on. And we hear numbers. As each guy drops, we're hearing a number. God, sorry, excuse me. And then as the cameraman like puts the camera down, he can't get out, and then he dies. And then Gotham grabs the camera and he looks, and there's a woman. She has like a veil over her and stuff. And this is basically death, that she's like a female death. And then he dies. And so that then cuts to, and the idea of that one's not bad, kind of like the guys in the church. I like this one too. I'd like to know a little bit more about the death clock. So who knows, maybe in one of the other films. After all, there are a total right now of 9, 10 if you include greatest hits. But who knows? So maybe Death Clock is brought up again. And then after that, we go back to the wraparound, and we see Ron kill the second sister, kills her with the hammer. And then he goes and kills the man in the chair. And then, he collapses on the ground and then wakes up. And that then goes to 21, which is Henry. And we find out that Ron and Henry are the same person. It's a split personality thing. And so the brother that we hear about at the beginning of the movie is actually Ron. And then because the dad, before he gets killed with the hammer, he tells Ron, he says like Henry, and you don't know why. And that's because the dad is he's not talking to Henry, he's talking to Ron. Then from there, it goes into 22. So you have a man that is talking to his uncle Saul about these tapes and Henry and how the government wants the tapes. So these tapes mean something to the government, and they are on their way to get them. And then the man leaves, which then goes to number 23. And that's where we cut back to the Phantom of the Mask, or Phantom of the Opera guy with the mask. And basically what this, and so we now find out that there's Henry, Ron, and the Phantom of the Opera guy with the mask on are all the same person. So who knows if Henry is, who Henry is. Maybe he's a person, one of the personalities. Maybe Ron is one of the personalities. Maybe the Phantom of the Opera guy with the mask is one of the personalities. Who knows? Maybe we haven't even seen the correct person yet. Who knows how many personalities he has. And they're all played by Jack Hunter. They all look different. He does a good job with all three. So it's nice that he plays all three and looks different. I think that he does a pretty good job. And the Phantom of the Opera mask guy mentions the other Paranoia tapes. So he's naming them off, saying there's definitely more to come. So this could be new footage put in. Since the other ones were already made, and this one was put together in 2020. So that's pretty much what sums up the Paranormal tapes, and for the director's cut. So if you have a chance to watch the director's cut, check it out. If not, you can always purchase the originals, and you might even be able to get a copy of Horror Nights. I know from Dustin Hubbard, so you can message him. I did ask him if he has all of the Paranoia tapes, and he said he does. They're on Blu-ray. So I'm going to be picking those up and then keeping my DVDs of the other ones. So I think that pretty much wraps this up. And thank you for watching. Once again, thank you, Jack Hunter, for being my guest on One Filmmaker, One Film. We're going to do this again. He does have a couple movies that should be coming out hopefully next year. So I'll have them back for another one, and we'll get more detailed into anthologies and found footage films. So yeah, I guess that's it. And thank you very much. And I will talk to you on the next video. Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out after the video. And thank you for watching the very first Dark Park Films sponsored video. And who is that sponsor? Well, I've now learned if I do this with my hands, they go to the right area. There we go. That would be Wildlife Command Center Coffee, and you can purchase it right there. You can go to their website, which is buyWCC.com, and pick up their coffee. They have 2 blends, which I'm going to show you now. The first coffee is this one right here. This is a breakfast blend. It's 10 ounces, and it is a medium ground. And it does say, and it's breakfast, like I said, and this is what it says right here. It says, early bird can catch the worm. So there you go, a breakfast blend coffee that helps you catch the worm in the morning. And I really like this one. I'm more of a breakfast kind of blend coffee guy in the morning. So this one I really like. It has that little bit of oomph to it to kind of get you moving, get you up and out. And so I really enjoy this one, but that doesn't mean that I don't like the other one, which is this one right here. This is a dark roast. It is also 10 ounces, and both of these are $7.99 at their website. Pretty good price for 10 ounces worth of ground coffee. This one is, it's a little darker. So it's, I think it's better for drinking at night. Maybe if you're, writing a screenplay, or if you're filming, this has got that oomph, that double punch to get you going. So this is one that I also recommend. I like both of these quite a bit, but I kind of do, the breakfast in the morning and then the dark more at night. So I recommend both of these quite a bit. And how did I find out about these two, these 2 coffees here? And how did I find out about Wildlife Command Center? Well, when I was working on Night of the Zomghouls, there was a box of coffee that was just sitting there, filled with coffee. And we didn't know what to do with it. Like, whose is this? Who brought it? Why is it here? And so we just kept going to the store and buying coffee. And then one day I said, why don't we just get the coffee out of the box and use that instead of, wasting money on going to Smith's or whatever and picking up coffee. So we did. We did not realize that it was the Wildlife Command Center coffee, and that it, was sponsoring the movie. And it was great coffee. Everybody loved it. And we just went right through it. By the last day of filming, this coffee was gone. And I went and found out, about Wildlife Command Center, asked if they would like to be a sponsor for Dark Park Films, for their coffee. As many of you know, I love coffee. I love coffee mugs. And so this was a perfect match. And Wildlife Command Center is great with animals. So they provide a great service for rescuing animals. So it's kind of that double whammy for me, where coffee, helping animals, you can't go wrong. And they were even cool enough to send me, get in there, a coffee mug, because they knew that I liked coffee mugs. And right now, I don't get that. A little bit. I'm going to go on the keyboard, but that's their dark blend, because I'm recording this at night. So I am actually drinking that while recording. Also, one thing that you can get at their website, which is cool, is you can get this. There you go. This pocket knife, which is $9.49. And this is pretty cool because it has their name on it. Wildlife Command Center, we can catch it. And this is what it looks like put that down there. There we go. Fully out. So you're getting like the bottle opener, you got the corkscrew, you got a screwdriver, you got a blade, and then you got this little hook thing that you can pop it into something that doesn't have a tab, and then the liquid or whatever in there will come out. So this is pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep mine in my car because you never know. You might need a pocket knife. So please support them. I'm going to have links down below, where you can, check out just the Wildlife Command Center. I'll also have a link for Wildlife Command Center coffee, and it will basically be for both these guys right here. And please support them. I support them. I think what they do is pretty awesome. And, maybe this coffee will be on your set or in your kitchen. It will definitely be, on my set in my kitchen. I know that. So please, once again, I'm going to show you these. Please go to their website and pick up their coffee and make it part of your day or night, depending on which one you like. So that'll be about it. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, so thank you. And once again, please support my channel. Please support the Wildlife Command Center, and I will catch you later. Bye.